So I just got out of the Woman in the Yard movie, and I've got more thoughts on it than I originally thought I did. I'm going to get into some super spoilers here. I just want to talk about kind of my thoughts on the movie and maybe a little bit about what the ending might have meant. So this movie pretty much explores a woman and her two children living in a house by themselves shortly after the husband or father of the family was killed in a car accident several weeks or months before, and it deals a lot with grief and trauma from that incident. One day, a woman appears in the yard and kind of terrorizes the family a little bit psychologically by just standing out there menacingly. Throughout we see that the mother she's not a great mom. She has outbursts. She is clearly lying about something to the children. And then about halfway through the movie, we find out what she was lying about. The children thought that their dad was out one night with their mom on a dinner date, and they had an argument. They thought that the dad was driving both of them home and had a car accident and died, whereas the mom survived the car accident. What we come to find out, though, is that the mom was driving. And when I heard that in the theater, I was like, okay, it's like they showed it, and I don't think she was maliciously trying to kill both of them. But she looks in the rearview mirror right before the accident, and she sees the woman in the yard. She sees the woman that, appeared in the yard at the beginning of the movie. It's kind of not necessarily obvious what it means, but it might shed some light on what she's feeling later on in the movie, because they had an argument at dinner. The mother wasn't happy. She wasn't happy with what was going on. They had just moved to this farm. She wasn't liking what life was like for them, and she wanted out. What she meant by that, we don't really know at this point in the movie. And then later on, we get to the rising action of the third act happens, and we find out that the woman in the yard is the amalgamation of the mom's grief. Her name's Ramona. Ramona's grief and trauma from the accident. There's a scene in particular where we fully understand the embodiment of this woman and what she means. And she asks Ramona. The woman in the yard eventually breaks into the house and has cornered Ramona in a room by herself. She asks Ramona, "You pray every day, and for what?" And Ramona responds with, "I pray for the strength to keep going." The woman says, "No, you don't. You pray for me. You pray for me to come." Which we come to find out what that means. This lady, this woman in the yard, is Ramona's embodiment of taking her own life. She wants to end her own life. So she's not praying for the strength to keep going every day. Every day she wakes up praying for the strength to be able to take her own life. Ramona and the woman are in the room alone. She says, "Will my kids be okay?" The woman, she takes a lighter and she lights up the pictures of the children on the wall. And as she goes through each one, it gradually shows them as adults. When I first saw the scene, I was like, what the fuck? Like, are they just showing that the kids are going to grow up to be successful if the mom takes her own life? And I kind of had that thought throughout the rest of the movie, which was like 20 more minutes. Is this glorifying this action? And then once we finally get to the scene in the attic where Ramona has the gun and the woman is behind her, helping her align herself over the gun to take her own life, we see Ramona's shadow and the woman's shadow merge together. And then we zoom out. A minute or two passes and we see the children running back home with the light on and Ramona coming to the door as if she hasn't done it. Like she didn't do it. They run out of the door and they go together into the darkness. But then they come upon a new house that has lights in it. The lights are lit up, and then we zoom out to the sign on the property that says Iris Haven. Earlier in the film, Ramona had said that her favorite flowers are irises and that they were trying to name the farm. And it's written Iris Haven. As they approach the front door, we see the dog run up. The dog who we thought was dead. The dog who we thought wasn't there anymore. But we didn't see had died. I think that's a key. And we do not see the husband. As they go into the house, a happy family, we zoom in on a painting of hers. It looks like Ramona, it looks like the woman in the yard are kind of merged into one. As we zoom down to the corner of the painting, we see Ramona's name written backwards, which throughout the movie we've seen that when words are written backwards, we're in the alternate universe. We're in the evil universe. I've seen a lot of reviews about this movie saying that, oh, she did end up taking her life. This is the afterlife. This is her perfect world. Her kids are here. She's happy. The power's back on. The dog's here, alive. Clearly, we see that Ramona's written backwards, so we must be in the mirror world. This is her perfect world. She took her life in the real world, and this is what she ended up in. I thought that. Everybody thought that when we got up. We're like, whoa, is that just glorifying taking your own life? I went home, and I was like, yeah, I guess it is. That's kind of a weird way to end the movie, but the more that I've thought about it, what I think it's showing is she didn't take her life. We didn't hear the gun go off. We didn't see the husband, who we know was dead. we hadn't seen the dog before because we thought the dog was dead, but it never showed the body. We can't confirm that the dog was dead. But we did see that the Iris Haven text was correctly displayed, as if it was the real world. The painting is the alternate universe where she did take her life, or where those depressive thoughts were. It's in the picture. She wrote her name backwards to idolize the grief and trauma that she went through. That's how she got through it. That's how she knew that the woman wouldn't come back, because she was able to use her paintings for it. And to circle back to the part where Ramona and the woman were in the room, and she was seeing her children's pictures grow up after she asked the woman if her kids would be okay after she's gone. I don't think that was the woman showing her the future. I think that was peering into the mind of somebody that is suffering from depression, or somebody that is having these thoughts. They convince themselves that the world will be better without them. I think the movie is just doing a good job at showing the inner workings of somebody that is going through those thoughts. And the fact that they don't show her going through with the action, and that it has a happy ending where she's happy with her children and they go back to the house that she named her favorite flower, that she finally found a name for. And it shows that the painting had her name backwards. That's how she was able to deal with the woman. And it shows that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Taking her own life wasn't the answer. She said that she knows how to deal with the woman if she were to see her again. And it's through the painting. That's just kind of my thoughts. Maybe I'm just spinning it a certain way because I didn't want it to be so depressing, because multiple times throughout the movie I was like, wow, this is fucked up. Like, I can't believe they're actually glorifying this, but I think that they weren't. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Am I just saying bullshit? Just let me know. But thanks for watching.